I'm Antoni Chan, reporting here for Room Now at ACR 2025 in Chicago. And today there was a presentation, abstract number 0854, which is the revision of the Axial Spondyloarthritis classification criteria. And this came from the classic study. There was a joint project between ASAS and SPARTAN and presented today here at ACR 2025. The aim of this study was to refine the classification criteria for axSpA, which was first developed by ASAS in 2009. The 2009 ASAS axSpA criteria offered a sensitivity of 83% and specificity of 84% for rheumatologist-confirmed diagnosis. It's important to note that these are classification criteria, not diagnostic criteria. While there was a strong starting point, the high prevalence of back pain in the general population meant that we were looking for a greater specificity in this round in the classic study, where that was the focus. The focus was to try to get to above 75% sensitivity but higher specificity at greater than 90%. And that was the goal of the classic study. The classic study recruited over 1,000 patients from 61 centers across 27 countries. And these patients had back pain for more than 3 months, and the age of onset was below the age of 45. The diagnosis was assessed very stringent in the 5 stages, and stage 5 had a reference standard. This includes centralized imaging review by 2 primary readers and also an adjudicator. The cohort was split into testing and training sets and validation sets, and they used regression techniques including lasso and multivariable logistic regression. And the team identified the key SPA features that's strongly associated with a stage 5 diagnosis. And then following that, expert consensus was refined to refine the criteria further, and the final proposal was put to vote from both the ASAS and SPARTAN members. The results of the classic study was 370 patients, about 36.5% of patients finally met the stage 5 diagnosis of axSpA. And from this, they achieved a sensitivity of 79.5 and also a specificity of 90.4, which met the original target for the specificity and sensitivity. What is different from the 2009 criteria is there's a greater weighting on MRI, imaging of the sacroiliac joints, both in terms of active and also structural lesions, radiographic sacroiliitis, and then the clinical features. HLA-B27, presence of inflammatory back pain, inflammatory bowel disease, uveitis, heel enthesitis, and elevated CRP. Notably, they have added in psoriasis, and also dactylitis was replaced by CRP based on expert consensus. The conclusion I've taken away from the classic study is that this revised ASAS SPARTAN criteria hopefully will try to improve the specificity in the classification criteria, and also to emphasize that the central role of imaging and to streamline the clinical variables to improve diagnostic precision. So I think this is one further step for us to try to improve the accurate identification of axSpA, particularly for clinical trials and research studies, where these classification criteria will help us to identify these patients more accurately. I'm Antoni Chan, reporting here for Room Now at ACR 2025 in Chicago.